You hear me?
Hi, Paul.
Alice.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Paula. You're all dressed up tonight.
Thank you. Still in my uniform.
Uh,
David? No. You see my dog.
You didn't close.
That's okay. So all the stuff we were talking about last week about talking to the attorney, and Karen Green is going to tell us all about what she found out tonight, right?
don't bet on it. I had an hour and a half meeting with her this morning,
With who?
Karen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're going to tell us all about it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we can begin. Our moderator tonight is going to be Karen Green.
Okay. The August 24, 2020 meeting of the Yarmouth Old Kings Highway Historical District Committee is about to convene. As a precautionary measure to reduce the spread of the coronavirus, this meeting will be held by remote participation. My name is Karen Green, and I'm the Community Development Director, and will be serving as moderator for this virtual meeting. I will now turn it over to the chairman for roll call quorum.
My name is Richard Gegenwath, and I'm the chairman of the Old Kings Highway Committee for the Yarmouth District. I will begin by taking roll call for quorum. Bob Wilkins,
I'm here.
Jane Hildebrand,
Here.
Rosemary Nichols,
Here.
John Stewart,
Here.
and Paula Morrison.
Here.
Good, we have a quorum, so we will be able to begin the meeting. It's now 16 minutes after 7. And I will ask the moderator to explain how we will run this meeting, this remote participation, how it will work. Please.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, this meeting of the Yarmouth Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance is permitted, but every effort has been made to ensure that the public can adequately access and participate in the proceedings as provided for in the order. Persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by joining this virtual meeting as an attendee or through the live feed on the Town of Yarmouth YouTube channel. So we have that up and running tonight, the YouTube. You may also listen to the meeting by dialing in to the number provided on the notice of meeting. The meeting will also be posted on the Town of Yarmouth YouTube channel for future viewing. Please be patient as we work to overcome any technological challenges with this virtual meeting. All audience participants enter the virtual meeting muted. Participants will be unmuted when called upon to speak by the chair or moderator. If you are not speaking, please mute yourself to avoid unnecessary background noise. Clearly state your name each and every time prior to speaking. Do not use speakerphone or Bluetooth devices when speaking. All votes must be roll call votes. After a motion is made and seconded, the chair will ask for a roll call vote. Applicants can use their raise hand button or press *9 on their phone to identify themselves to the chair. The moderator will unmute applicants when they are called upon to speak during their portion of the agenda. I'll also do like I did last week and pull people in to be kind of temporary panelists, so that you can see their face while they're speaking with you. Applicants shall identify themselves by first, last name, and affiliation. Applications or presentations provided by the applicant, this doesn't really apply. If it appears the meeting cannot or should not proceed, the moderator will recommend that the chair request to continue the hearing to a later date and time. I'll now hand the meeting back to the chair.
There are 7 new applications for certificates of appropriateness that will be heard this evening in the order listed on the agenda. Please be reminded that our committee's main purpose is to review items for appropriateness and setting, and it will be the responsibility of the applicant to comply with regulations of other town boards and departments, including the building department, conservation, engineering, health, zoning, and the sign inspector. You should know there is a 10 calendar day appeal period starting once a decision is filed with the town clerk. Any person aggrieved by our decision tonight can appeal to the Regional Commission of the Old Kings Highway. And our office administrator will be happy to answer any questions you have with respect to that process. We'll begin now with the first item, which is concerned with building a new 15 by 24 attached garage with a 5'6" breezeway at 29 Heather Lane. The homeowner is Robert Snow, and Alan Osgood is the agent. So do we have either Robert or Alan?
We do. We have Alan is here. I'm going to promote him to panelist. Alan, can you hear us? You're muted right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Can.
good,
Okay.
good, fine.
I'm Alan Osgood. I'm a residential designer from Sandwich, Mass. And I'm representing Robert M. Snow Jr., who is the applicant at 29 Heather Way. And we are asking for a proposed addition of a single-car wood frame garage, 15 feet wide by 24 feet long, with a roofed over breezeway, which is 5'6" by 10 feet.
Mhm.
It is an open breezeway, and the style of the garage is consistent with the style of the house. For instance, the existing house has woven corners instead of corner boards. And so the new garage will follow that same pattern.
Good.
I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have about what we have proposed.
I had one question, basically. There's a door off of the breezeway into the garage, and I think there's a window on that wall. And there's no windows anywhere else in the garage, the back or the left side.
No, the only other window on the garage is in the front,
Up on
and then there's one on the side facing the existing house.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't
So
know
there's just those two windows.
right inside. Yeah. Good, okay. So that's by design.
Yes.
Alan, just by point of clarification, this is Bob Wilkins speaking. When you say open breezeway, what do you mean exactly by that?
Well, it's roofed over, but the breezeway, the width of the breezeway is 5'6". Really, it is really ends up to be a landing
Yeah.
rather than a breezeway. It's not going to be enclosed in any way. And so it's just going to have steps front and back. There was discussion about using a railing, but there really isn't enough width there to put a railing
Just a
system
flat.
in
Right.
because of the fireplace.
Right.
Walking between the fireplace and the garage gives you about 3'6" room. So we just felt that the height of the landing to the grade is 16
Mhm.
inches, so
Yeah.
no railing is actually required by code.
Right, right. Yeah, and this turns out to be a real breezeway because the breeze can blow through it.
That's
As
right.
opposed to most breezeways that are enclosed.
It really just serves as a roofed over landing
Right,
for the both the side entrance into the garage, which is directly opposite the side entrance to the home.
Got it. Thank you for the clarification.
Hey, this is John Stewart, Alan. I have a question on the window over the garage door. What was it that determined the height of that window?
What determined the height of that window? Just try to keep it in proportion with that gable end. I mean, it could be lowered.
It might look a little better if it were lowered.
smidge lower. Yeah, a little bit lower.
I don't. The owner is a builder, and I know he won't have any problem with that.
Okay. Is there a second floor there?
It's just storage.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
just going to be used for storage.
I think it would look a little
The
more.
it's really just to take
It's
away
light.
from the volume of sidewall
Yes.
on that gable.
Shingles.
So just to be specific, are we talking half a foot lowered?
Yeah, right.
Let's see. How about well, what are the shingles to weather? 7 inches,
5 inch.
5 inches?
The shingles to weather are 5 inches.
Okay, so maybe 2 rows down, 10 inches.
Two courses?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't have any problem with that, and I know the owner won't either.
Yeah, I'm not picky. I think it would look more
Yeah.
pleasing to the eye. Other than that, everything looks fine to me.
do we have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we want to add that as an amendment, the window?
Shall we, Richard?
it's such a simple thing.
Yeah, I think we can trust Alan to do that.
Yeah,
Going any further?
we'll carry the word.
Okay.
And so John was made the motion. You have a second?
I'll second it. Bob Wilkins.
Okay, so all in favor of this, I will read the roll call. Bob Wilkins
Aye.
and Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
Rosemary Nichols,
Aye.
John Stewart,
Aye.
Bola Morrison,
Aye.
and myself, Richard Gagworth, approve. Good. So thank you very much, Alan, for coming in and giving.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for your service.
So, Mr. Osgood, we will prepare the decision here at Town Hall and email it
Okay,
to you so that you'll have it for your applications.
all right, fine.
Okay, thank you.
There's also.
Thank you very
a-
much. I'll hit the leave button now.
Good.
Good night.
Good night. now.
Right.
Okay, the next item concerned with replacing 9 windows, front door and with side lights, and replacing a brick stoop with a stone stoop at 100 Wharf Lane. The homeowner is Gregory Bilzikian, and Kurt Raber is the agent.
I have promoted Mr. Raber to panelist, so hey, we get to see him this time.
Good,
Good evening, how are you?
good, thank you.
I believe Mr. Belzikian's listening in as well. But I'll now walk you through the application.
Good.
You all have the application in front of you, and you may remember this house came before this board not too long ago. And we did some windows and a new entrance on the side. Did a general remodel on the inside of the house
Mhm.
about 2 years ago. So this time is just coming back to finish up some of the incomplete things. Some of the older windows on the main original gambrel portion of the house, which is closest to Wharf Lane,
Mhm.
weren't replaced in the last go round, and we'd like to replace those 9 windows now. The others are just inefficient, leaky. And we're gonna match the same windows that were approved last time, we'll use again. Similarly, the front door is reached the end of its useful life, as have the side lights. So we propose to put in a new door and side lights. And then the last part is the existing brick stone or the brick steps on the are
The front door.
coming apart. And so what we propose to do is, I was going nuts, sorry about that. Remove the brick down to a sound substrate and use a monolithic piece of granite.
Mhm.
And I believe if you scroll down, did I?
We have Corinthian granite.
You,
17.
Kurt, would you like something else? We only put a few slides here, but I can access the full application if you'd like.
Oh, I think there was another page to this Stonewood Products. And I think I highlighted the one monolithic slab.
Give me 1 second, I can look for it.
Oops.
Can you see the revised application here?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to the top. You tell me when to stop, because I think that's the only thing we have on the stair. So, yeah, because that's the first application. That's the door.
I think my office scanned that page in upside down. I think the reverse side of that.
Oh, no, really?
I
But
didn't recall seeing it before.
anyway, we're proposing you've probably seen it many times before. And it's a monolithic 7.5 inch thick slab
Mm.
of the Corinthian granite, which is rectangular, but then a split face on the vertical. So we would have one piece that's 4 foot by 5 foot, replace that top stoop. And then we'd have another plank of granite, again, full 7-inch thickness, replace the lower step.
Mhm.
That sounds great.
Yeah, just one question. I assume is insofar as the fenestration is concerned, that we're talking like for like?
Yes, indeed,
Yeah.
yes. And same grill pattern in the window. And also we confirmed with the door manufacturer, they can do the single panel below the 4 light side lights.
Good.
I move to approve the application.
I second it.
Okay.
So that was Bob with
Yeah.
the motion and Rosemary with the second.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Bob Wilkins,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand. Jane,
I'm unmute myself. Aye.
I can't read your lips. Rosemary Nichols,
Aye.
John Stewart,
Aye.
Paula Morrison,
Aye.
and myself, Richard Gagenworth. Great. So, thank you, Kurt, for coming in.
Thank you.
If there are any changes, let us know in advance as you go along. Okay, usually we have a document. These-
Well, I'll send you the one page with that monolithic piece of stone anyway.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Something like that in my own house. One that's big.
So do I. It looks great.
Yeah. Good. All right. So we'll move on then to the next item.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Good night. This is to replace a bow window with 2 double-hung mold windows at it be in the same location on the house, at 24 Covey Drive. The homeowner is Anthony Motino, and I believe if he's here, he'll represent himself.
If he's here. Oh, and there's a hand up. Hello? The phone.
I am
probably-
here.
Oh, there we go. Anthony,
Sorry.
you?
What's that?
Is that Anthony Mutino?
Anthony Mutino, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good. So this is a window which it's not kind of on the side of the house, the plans, the pictures that I saw. And it's a simple replacement. It was kind of strange to have a bow window, I thought. So.
Yes, we thought the same. Well,
Yeah, so having a mold double hung would be more appropriate in my mind. Any other comments? There you go.
One too many.
Good. Any other comments from my colleagues?
Are these,
I think the double hung will look better.
Yeah.
we're talking 2 though, right? Or no? How many windows are we
Yes,
talking?
Next one,
Two.
mold.
Are these,
there are two. Yes, sir.
okay. Are they abutting each other in the center?
Yes, they are. They're mulled, and the opening will not be altered in any way.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, so the single window off to the side just stays the same. I think that's maybe what
Correct.
we're thinking, Bob. Good. Do we have a motion on this?
I move to approve. I'll second.
It was Rosemary.
Paula Morrison.
Thank you.
Paula.
Paula.
Good. All in favor? We're down with Bob Wilkins,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
Rosemary Nichols,
Aye.
John Stewart.
Aye.
And Paula Morrison,
Aye.
and Richard Gagworth is an aye. So thank you very much, everyone. And Again, I'll repeat that if there's any changes to be made, let us know in advance so that we don't get a big surprise when somebody goes driving by. Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming in, Tony, or Anthony.
Thank you for your time, sir.
You're very welcome. So the next item is item 4 at 21 Drake Street, which is just off of Fallon's Pond. And it's the house of Mark Chase. And there's a siding trim agent from Millwood Siding. And this is to reside the entire house with vinyl siding in Victorian gray, which is a light gray. So, any comments on this? The brand of siding is what on this?
Mr. Chase has joined the meeting as a panelist, but he's still muted right now.
Oh, okay, can we unmute?
Yeah, I'm asking him to unmute. It's on his end. Mr. Chase, are you, there we go. Hello?
Not there.
He's joined he's there, but we cannot hear him. I'm just texting to him to see if he can try speaking. I'm going to suggest that he try joining with the phone. You want to move on to the next agenda item and we can work on the technical difficulty here, or?
I'll move to table the application until the end of the meeting.
Second,
That was Robert.
Yes.
John Stewart, second.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of tabling this to the end of the meeting? Bob Wilkins,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
Rosemary Nichols,
Aye.
John Stewart,
Aye.
and Paula Morrison.
Aye.
And Richard says aye. Okay, so we'll move that to the end of the meeting and we'll proceed then to the next item, which is number 5 on the agenda. This is concerned with a vinyl fence, a small picket type fence in front of the house at 112 Route 6A. Laura Landeman is the owner of the property, and this fence was put in some time ago with the order of 6 months, as I recall.
5,
So
yes.
this is a request to let it be. It's replacing a fence that was there years ago, I guess. It was a wooden fence, and a vinyl fence was put in its place. So this is a request after the fact. It should be noted that we generally don't approve of vinyl fences. We had 2 that came before us at the last meeting, which switched to cedar board fences. And no problem at all. The homeowners were pleased that they'll be putting up something that they like too. So did not get approved at those locations. This one is worse in the sense that it's right on 6A. And these, amongst all the historic houses for this Captain's Mile. And I think the fence builder is someone who has put up many wooden fences in our area. And I'm surprised that he wouldn't have automatically done it here. And if there's a cost of doing this work, I think he should participate in that, paying for a change.
This, if I may speak, John Stewart, their letter states that they were aware of the fact that this was going in vinyl before, but it had been paid for, so they allowed it to be installed. So they're saying that both them and both the applicant and the fence company are acknowledged that they at fault. But if this were an application without the fence in place, we wouldn't allow it.
Right.
Capital letters on the Old Kings Highway on the page. Vinyl fences are not, in capital letters, NOT allowed.
Yeah, we had, it's many years ago, but we had two cases where people put up vinyl fences and they ended up taking them down and putting up wood fences. One of them was Oliver's Restaurant, right on 6A. And, that was like a 6-foot tall fence. And the other one was on North Dennis Road, up close, well, halfway between my house and Setauket Road. And they took it down and put up a wooden fence. They were much more substantial jobs than this little fence.
Depends who's paying.
So, right now what we could do, because this is an application to replace the fence that had been there, a wooden one, with a vinyl fence. And so if someone makes the motion to deny, that will clear this.
I move to deny.
I second.
Bob Wilkins.
Rosemary Nichols.
Okay, and then I'll ask for a roll call on that, which would be, this is to deny the plastic fence. Bob Wilkins,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
Mary Nichols,
Aye.
John Stewart, and Paula Morrison,
Aye.
and Richard Gegenworth. Aye, it's definitely. Okay, so the applicant will have to remove the fence, and if they want to put up a wooden fence, if they want to put up no fence, they can do that. If they want to put up a wooden fence, they can apply, and that might be possible as a certificate of exemption. It meets all the criteria for certificate of exemption. Okay. Any further questions on this?
Are there any abutters present?
The only hand I see up is Mr. Chase.
Oh, maybe he got
I
his
know
thing
that he's in a
straightened
butter.
out.
Why don't we get a chance to speak?
What do you want to say?
What you just say what you wrote. That's all.
Right.
Prior to them voting, we thought we would have a chance to say our piece. Do we get to say our piece?
Yes.
I mean, usually that's the way it works, but I mean,
Well, there was
you guys just
nothing,
voted, so what, what am I supposed to say?
well, we knew that you were there. We knew that you were,
Well, there was no acknowledgement,
but nobody did.
right? Nobody acknowledged it.
Nobody spoke on your side.
Well, with no one at, no, you said to wait to join the meeting, and then you gave your piece, and then you voted, and you never said anything. We were just being polite and waiting, but then you made your vote.
I don't think that's fair. Our intent was never to put in a wooden fence. However, we were in Florida. We asked the fence company that we needed to change. We wanted to change the fence because it was all rotted. And we wanted a fence the same as what was there. And they went ahead and they put together a proposal for which we went and we sent in half the money for it. And then we stayed in Florida longer than we anticipated because of COVID. When we returned 2 days later, they said, well, we're ready to, do your fence. Give us the balance of your money. We look at the invoice and we go, it says vinyl.
We didn't order a vinyl fence.
We didn't order a vinyl fence, but we signed off on because we saw a picture that it was identical to the fence that we previously had.
We've since planted knockout roses that are going to grow to 4 feet tall. The fence is only 32 inches off of the ground. There's many homes in Yarmouth Port that have vinyl fencing, and ours is of the highest quality. It was very expensive. And unless you get out of the car to go and touch it, we have had countless people come by and say, oh my God, it looks amazing. Nobody, I don't know who has it out for us, whoever's writing these letters, because you haven't told us who is complaining. We put $400,000 into this house. Take a look around. There's very few houses that have taken the care that we have done with the pride to be able to pass this house along for generations to come. And yet you're taking this thing that is such a small thing and you're giving us more money to spend when it will be completely covered by these beautiful roses. I mean, we spent a fortune on everything. And I just don't understand, we feel painted as though you're painting us to be villains. We're not. We're good people. We've spent so much money here, and we've been welcomed with open arms by these people of Yarmouth Port that have been very loving. But coming to this kind of thing and receiving a letter that was so threatening was very upsetting. And I don't understand why we would be treated like that. You would think if you cared that much about the historic area, you would look at what we have done and you would be happy. You would be appreciative. You would say, good job. But instead, it's just really an ugly experience. It's very upsetting.
But I would like to add, the only way I can tell wood fences when I travel on 6A is because they're all peeled and need painting. It would be wonderful if you're going to say, have a wood fence. But if you have a wood fence, how about maintaining it? How about painting it? How about replacing all the rotted spindles and stuff as it goes along? But that's not being done. Homes that need to be cleaned up and yards that need to, and lawns that need to be mowed. Nothing's done about that. So to carry it to the letter. So we were allowed, we just changed all the wood siding on the front of our house and put new clapboard siding because it was rotted. We changed all of the trim. We rebuilt all of the bay windows that was, they pretty much went inside to the house with all the rot. And you allowed us to do that with AZEK, which is a plastic product. What we do learn and know that products come along and are advantageous that they look better, last longer, they don't need the maintenance. And when you're driving by, there is no way you can point to my fence and say that's a vinyl fence. You can come out and touch it and say it's a vinyl fence, but otherwise, I defy you to go and say that that's plastic as you're driving by.
I mean, even to the point where you say, well, if you're going to replace it, then you can come and get an exception and apply to this board again. We were told that the rules were if it was replaced exactly in the same size and shape, we didn't need to do that. So I'm just saying, we feel like we're being picked on by this committee. All right. We've gone through a lot here and we are not villains. We have been respectful, and I'm beside myself with frustration with having to deal with this board when nobody is friendly at all here. You guys are all so mean the way that you talk to us.
One of the things, I agree, you said the fence company has done all of these wooden fences. I was shocked that they would make up a vinyl fence. Shocked. They put fences up all the time. Why would they be building us a wood fence? And when they built the vinyl fence,
yeah, I can understand that.
Know better than us.
Right.
Excuse me, not meaning to interrupt, but I think your quarrel is with the fence company. I
Right.
think that was made very clear by the chairman of this committee. I think this, in contradistinction to what you've just voiced, and I hear your frustration, but I think we've been extremely respectful. And the vinyl fence was apparent to me when I drove by the first time I saw it erected. So you can say that it's not, that you defy us to be able to distinguish the difference between a vinyl and wood. I can distinguish the difference between vinyl and wood.
Yep.
So it's not a like for like change. Moreover, we have specific guidelines that we are mandated to adhere to.
Well, there are people right across the street.
Excuse me, ma'am.
that last June got approved.
Excuse me, may I finish? We have specific guidelines and mandates that we are required by law to adhere to. This is not arbitrary on our part. This is not capricious. This is not mean-spirited. You are not being targeted. This vote is clear and obvious according to what our bulletin requires us to do.
Well,
And your
then
argument,
complete-
I believe, is with the fence company, not with us. And there is, by the way, there's no point in trying to be contentious with us. We are a duly constituted, lawful body. We're volunteers. We are doing the best we can to try to preserve the character of Yarmouthport. So let's try to keep the discussion civil, please. And I think respect goes both ways. We respect you. Please respect us. Thank you.
Okay, I think
I think they hung up.
we've said all that needs to be said at this point, and I think it's time for the homeowners to think about what they want to do. And we should move on to the next item, which is item number 6, and it's concerned with the addition of a 2-story section onto a house at 2 Boulder Circle. Kevin and Marianne Crowley are the owners, and Kevin Crowley is the agent. So is Kevin here tonight?
He is. I've just added him as a panelist. And Kevin, you need to unmute yourself. There we go.
Good.
Kevin, you're muted still.
He's there.
John,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can. You'll have to read our
Wait
lips.
a minute.
You can't hear us, Kevin?
I still can't hear you.
No, do you want to try phoning in? You can phone in at the same time. I don't know. We can hear you fine, so your microphone works one way. I don't know why it's not playing.
Should I explain what I'm trying to do?
Sure.
You can't hear her.
We can all hear.
Okay. So my name's Kevin Crowley. It's my wife, Mary Ann. This is actually the fourth time we've been in front of you. It was first for a shed, then for a pergola that was put on the left side of the house with the siding. And then the last time was the front of the house with the windows and the siding and stuff too. What we're proposing to do now is to raise the roof on that right side of the house and just pick the wall up 7.5 feet and put the roof back on. The windows that we're going to put in the front are going to line up with the windows that are on the first floor.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to line up with the windows that are on the first floor, except we're proposing to box them out with a 2x12 so that they project out a little bit so that they match the windows that are on the far side of the house to the left. The mullion, yeah, there you go. The mullion window that's going to be, that is on the existing gable side is going to be a single window that's going to match the same size of the window that's underneath it. And in the back side, there's going to be another awning window in the bathroom. What we're going to do with the room is we're enlarging that room upstairs. We'll make it into a bedroom so that we're going to have a bathroom and a closet. The size of the room will effectively go from about 12 by 16.5 to 23 by 16.5. That's the footprint of the existing
Bedroom.
foundation.
Right.
Everything else will go back together the way it is, all the color schemes, the roof color, the windows. I guess that's pretty much about it. I still can't hear anything that you're saying.
We haven't spoken yet. You can't hear me? No.
which section of the roof are we?
You're not muted.
The section of the house? Because
I don't know.
We're
why we
over to
can't-
the right, the right section.
just the right section.
Yeah,
Please
Oh.
call.
Okay.
What's that?
Please call.
it would be like an enormous bump on a log.
A
Yeah,
problem,
Could I see that number again, please?
Go to chat. It's on chat.
Oh. Go to,
Oh, that's what it was, that meeting number there.
I'm trying to share the
301
phone number.
715.
They can call in. Do they- I think they
8592.
see it.
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
848 4985 5487.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You have joined the meeting as an attendee and will be muted throughout the meeting.
Can you hear us still?
Yes, but you should mute your computer and just use your telephone, please.
To what? You are unmuted.
I'm still not getting anything across here.
We are unmuted.
Please call me.
You're,
please.
okay, so can you hear us now?
Mute your computer.
You need to listen through the telephone. No, we can't hear you now.
sign language. Wonder if can they see us?
Is that better?
That's better.
Good.
We can
Okay.
try, there might be some feedback. I'm not sure.
How's that?
They've connected, John.
Okay.
We've connected John.
Oh,
Okay,
I was making up stories for an hour watching this.
it sounds like there's an echo in here.
Technology.
so can you, I assume,
I'm gonna make one more suggestion, Richard. Is your cell phone on speaker?
It is. Do you want me to shut it off?
I'm gonna try muting you. Can you try to speak again?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Okay.
I think we're good.
Go ahead.
okay,
right.
good. The problem, I've been involved in this house for years. As Kevin said, they've been before the board several times. And one of them was to add, what happened was there was a small deck off the left side of the house, and it was weathered wood and wooden balusters and so on. And it didn't look terribly conspicuous. And it was small compared to the size of the house. But then they came in and put on a 16 by 16 deck, which was substantially bigger. It was moved forward to just about the front of the house. And then the pergola was put on top, and the whole thing painted white and with black balusters and black railing. And we approved that. And
Yes.
when I saw the picture of that on the assessor's web page, I said, how did we approve that? I said, we would never have done that because it's out of proportion to the house. And most decks are on the back of the house to begin with. But I don't think, what happened was it was right before Christmas. It was the, I think, one and only meeting we had in December, and we approved it. So that's what are under the table, but this change now, I'm afraid, would be even worse. And to put a 2-story section just on that section of the house would be completely out of proportion and ugly. We like to use the word appropriate. It would be not appropriate. And there's only one thing that you could do there is put a full dormer on the back. Full dormer would be for the width of that section, or since it's tied into the rest of the roof, the dormer could be made wider in the back. And it wouldn't upset the appearance of the house from the front or from the right side even. If it's done, properly with the rakes and stuff. And it's close to the property line. It's only 16 feet to the property line from the foundation.
That's the existing outlook on the
foundation.
Yeah, we're not changing the footprint at all.
I know, but the fact is that to raise it up, because it's very close to all the trees on the next property, and it's closed in with a lot of trees. So I think the best thing to do on this is a dormer on the back.
What you're proposing, Richard, though, whether I do it your way and put the dormer in the back or raise it in the front, that wouldn't make any difference to what would happen in the back of that house.
I know, but I'm concerned with the front. The front looks lovely now. The front has looked lovely all along, going back to 2014, when it had shutters on the front, and you came in to put a front step, like a porch kind of, and the shed. And it was a lovely Cape Cod looking house. But then shutters went, the window was changed, and then the large deck on the left side, which normally we would have at least requested to have lattice work on the bottom, because it's wide open and it's a good place to store things. And the first thing you come in the driveway is you see everything sitting under the deck. So I'm surprised we must have missed it somehow, that we didn't. I reviewed a deck today, and the whole back of the house was covered with lattice. That house was built like 30 years ago. And
There was no lattice underneath the deck.
No, the deck that was existing was actually falling apart. There was no lattice under there.
I know there wasn't, but it was smaller and much more inconspicuous by nature of being weathered wood and rotting weathered wood. But nevertheless, when you paint something snow white, it stands out.
I don't know how you can come back on me on something that's been approved. I went in front of you people. Everything was there.
I'm just saying that we can't do anything about it. It's too late. But
Richard, I think that Bob Wilkins had his hand up, that he'd like to speak. But Bob, you're muted right now.
Okay. Well, I have a more fundamental problem with the application. I don't see any elevations in the application.
yeah, they're very poorly done.
I don't know how we can evaluate any application without the benefit of elevations. So without regard to everything else that's been previously said, to me, that's a fundamental issue. And at the very least,
Yeah, you need to have proper drawings to go to the building department. They would never do anything with this.
I can't understand exactly what.
we don't know what we're looking at because we're not seeing it.
No, there are drawings, but they're indistinct, to say the best.
They're incomplete. We need to see the drawings, the elevations, the front, the side, the rear. What is it going to wind up looking like?
Right.
We have to visualize it, and that's uncomfortable for me. So I would move the application until it's complete.
Yeah, it should at least be tabled.
That said, maybe we should consider this kind of an informational meeting, because if what Richard describes, he apparently understands this better than I do. I don't think it would be acceptable. So I think Richard's idea of a dormer in the back might suit the applicant better. They should consider that, I think, before.
So you're saying that you just don't like the idea of a second floor just on the right-hand side of the building?
Correct.
Right.
We've had situations like before when architects design things which are completely out of proportion to the existing house, and we turn them down. And I can think of 3 different architects, and they go back to the drawing board and come back 2 weeks later, and sometimes another 2 weeks after that. And suddenly they have a design that works, and it looks like it belongs with that house, that you could have designed it that way at the beginning. And that's the way additions should be. They shouldn't stand out and sort of stand alone by themselves. Can't do that.
Let me ask you this, Richard. Would you be opposed to having a like a dormer in the front also, like enough for a good sized window, like maybe an 8-foot dormer with the roof, you know, with an A-frame gable side going back into the roof?
Now, on this size house,
Or are you opposed to anything in the front?
I think nothing in the front would be best. A small dog house or something might work, but even that, because it's not an enormous house, and this section of it, you know, it's integral, and the way the roof lines step down, so on, it's a very well designed for its square footage and everything. As I say, if you put a dormer on the back, you could carry it further over, not just, is this section 12 feet wide?
14.
14.
14, that section is 14. The bedroom upstairs extends another 2.5 feet into the other part of the, when you open up, see the little area where the light is by the door?
Yeah.
The stairs were right beside there when you go in there. When you walk upstairs, that opens up into that room upstairs.
Good, so that gives you additional space there. And the dormer on the back could do the same thing and continue over there a couple of feet. So it could be a 16-foot dormer.
All right, so you guys don't like anything in the front, the dormer in the back, and you would like a more defined drawing sketch?
Right.
With front, side, and rear elevations.
I thought I had the elevations and the heights and everything on what I submitted to you in there for height
The
from grade.
The trouble is that the pencil wasn't very dark on the paper. So you see little lines all broken. And the best thing came out was the floor plan.
That doesn't cost you well.
Okay. When I was looking at the other set of plans, I was kind of thinking that mine wasn't really up to snuff on what you're saying. I've been a builder myself for 40 years, and I just kind of hand draw, and I do a lot of things in my own head and stuff, you know?
Yeah, but you have to use a heavier hand on the pencil.
No, I think.
All right, I think I understand what you're saying.
Good, okay. So why don't we table it tonight and give you 2 weeks to come back? That won't delay this too much. And
I'll, you know, I have to talk it over with my wife now, because now we got to decide what we want to do with that upstairs now, you know.
I mean, it's currently a bedroom, but it doesn't have a bathroom or a closet in it, you know?
Right.
So that's what we were trying to get out of it, was a bathroom and a closet.
Well, we can still get that out of the door. We just have to
So
talk.
you don't have to walk down the stairs every time you have to go to the bathroom.
yeah, I think,
Well,
I think you'd
thank
be
you for
able
your
to.
input.
Yeah, good. Okay, so work on that, Kev, and your wife.
Okay.
And you think 2 weeks or 4 weeks?
I'm going to say 4, because I want to go up and kind of I'm going to have to re-schematic everything now a little bit on the inside, not so much on the outside. I know what the outside is going to look like. It's how it's going to configure in the inside, you know?
Yep, good. Okay.
We're not concerned with the inside. We don't care.
I understand that. I know. But that's what makes the room functional to me.
Oh, yeah.
I think I understand what you want to do on the outside. I think I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, but
You
when
don't, you want to
place-
leave the front looking the same. You don't mind if I put the dormer in the back.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
And a better set of drawing.
yeah, you need to know the floor plan so you know where to put the windows and stuff.
Richard, can I have a point of clarification, please? So are you looking, I'm looking at my calendar, are you looking to table this to a date certain? And that being, if we look 4 weeks out, the second,
September.
maybe the only meeting in September is September 21? Does that work? Charlie? Or would you want to look into October?
It's September 21? It's,
When is the next submittal time?
that would be about 10 days before the 20th.
I think the next meeting would be the 5th of October. You guys are first and third.
But for him to have his data in before the next meeting, that would be around the 15th. I don't have that handy.
The 21st,
15th of
I think so.
September?
Yeah,
Okay, I mean, you know what, I'll shoot for that.
okay.
To get
Okay,
the
so-
information into you by the 15th of September?
Right, that gives you about 3 weeks.
Okay, all right,
And then we meet.
thank you.
Great, okay. So do I hear a motion to,
I'll move to table the application until the September 21st meeting, is it, Karen?
Thank you, yes.
Bob Wilkins.
John Stewart, second.
okay, all in favor? Bob Wilkins,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
Rosemary Nichols. Rosemary,
You're muted, Rosemary.
oh, okay. And John
Aye.
Stewart, John Stewart,
John Stewart, aye.
and Paula Morrison,
Aye.
and Richard Egworth, aye. So thank you, Kevin, and Mary Ann. And we'll look forward to seeing what you come up with. Good luck now.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Now, the next item on the agenda is Deborah Moran, Gary.
Do we just hang up? Do we just hang up?
You can just
Yeah.
hang up on the telephone and then you can choose to leave the meeting if you want. There should be a button kind of down towards the bottom of the screen.
You can
Thank you.
continue
Thank
to
you.
watch. There's nothing on TV tonight.
Bye-bye.
We gotta start drawing.
Okay. Good. Okay, this is concerned with putting a dining room addition inside of the existing footprint of the house and replacing some windows across the front of the house and replacing the trim at 130 Merchant Avenue, which is approximately across the street from me. And therefore I will recuse myself from this, and Bob will continue in my place as
You want to recuse yourself or do you just want to abstain?
I'll recuse myself and just listen, and I'm getting tired.
All right. So I'll temporarily take over for better or worse. So I just have one question with regard to this application. We're talking about the rear of the house and the deck. Is that the footprint that we're talking about?
Yes, that is the footprint. This is Gary Maintainus.
Right.
And yes, that is the footprint. Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Anyone else?
That's it.
Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve. It's Rosemary.
Jane, I'll second.
It's been approved. It's been moved by Rosemary, seconded by Jane. I'll take the roll call vote. Rosemary,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
John Stewart,
Aye.
Paula Morrison,
Aye.
and Bob Wilkins, aye. Richard Gegenworth, having recused himself, it passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Good.
You Chair now.
Thank you.
Good. Now we had one item that we skipped over, and we'll go back to that now, which is, which one is that? Drake Street. Drake Street, which is Mark Chase. Are we able to contact them now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Good, I see.
I apologize for that before. This is the first time I've done a Zoom meeting. And I couldn't find out how to unmute it. I had to go in the privacy settings and go to Zoom and activate you guys. So I apologize for not being able to respond to your when you were asking me to.
Well, thank you for trying. I would have given up.
This is the first time for me. So.
Okay, well, we generally have a problem with vinyl fences, as you may have heard.
Yeah.
And we generally have a problem with using vinyl house. Oftentimes we approve of vinyl on the front and regular shingles, white cedar shingles around the side and back. In this case, it's entirely all around the house, and it's a big job. And it was proposed using Ply-Gem T5 shingles in a light gray color. And usually when we have something like this, we ask the builder to bring in samples so we can see them. And since we're on the internet, we weren't able to do that. So I went to Hyannis and looked at samples that they had there, and I was not crazy with them. We had approved of a house maybe 6 months ago that used CertainTeed shingles, and they were similar size and color, but they had more texture and looked like real shingles, actually. I was amazed at the difference. So I don't know if anyone else has had a chance to, one of the problems I had was I first looked at this, like this showing here, but the website is a very good website and the pictures were very good. And I was very impressed. I said, well, pictures can be photoshopped or whatever, adjust the contrast and so on. So I'm going to go look at them for real. And I don't know if anyone else had a chance to see them.
No, I haven't.
That was very enterprising of you, Richard.
Yeah, I like kicking around lumber yards, so.
Richard?
Long time.
Richard?
Yes.
Hi. I actually, you guys approved my neighbor next door with the same shingles that I looked at. I actually got a sample from him, and I called Harvey Industries, who makes this or supplies this shingle. And I asked them I asked them who they recommended, and they recommended Steve Millwood. They said he's a real perfectionist. He does a great job. So I had him bring out samples of what he had there, and he was the one that recommended the Victorian gray. And I was so impressed with the way it looked next door. I mean, it really does look pretty realistic. And the maintenance-free side of it is what I'm looking for, because I'm right on Fallen Spawn. I'm not on 6A. I understand the 6A situation because you guys do a great job keeping that historic. But on Fallen Spawn, my house takes a beating. And within a couple of years, if I try to seal it with any kind of a stain or any kind of a paint, it just looks like hell in a couple of years. And it's such a waste of money. And I just think the vinyl siding, I know you guys don't approve of it, but this is the first shingle that I've actually saw that actually looked pretty darn realistic, because I agree with you. Some of the ones before, they were really, you could tell they were vinyl siding, but these things here, I was impressed with how realistic they looked, how they went together. And it just seems like a real, and the quality of the shingle is a lot better than years ago. They used to be thin, flat.
You're right, they were flimsy, kind of, I would call flimsy.
Right. So that's why I was kind of excited to see some, I mean, technology's changing all the time and things are unbelievable what's happening from day to day. And I didn't look at the CertainTeed because I saw I saw this one and I was impressed with how well it looked, and you approved it for him, so I thought I would go with that same brand if you approved it for him.
Yeah,
thought
I don't remember that one, actually.
He's been remodeling the whole house.
When was it done?
I think he got it approved a while ago. But he
Because-
did it probably during the winter, last winter.
Yeah, but the one that we approved,
It was on 25 Drake Street. Right next door to me.
I don't have the record to go into.
So if this is John Stewart, we're looking at that color, but then the next panel down describes weathered cedar collection, solid cedar colors, weathered cedar collection, solid cedar colors, perfections or hand split shakes.
Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds.
Not sure clear.
He called it the Discovery Triple 5-inch vinyl shingles by Majestic.
Right.
Victorian gray.
Yeah, that's what I looked at.
Okay.
But
We have Victorian gray, but perfection. Okay, perfection.
it's possible we approved of CertainTeed and he put that on. I didn't go out because the house that came up, the only house that we've ever done, approved of, was about 6 months ago. Might have been, toward the end of last year.
So it's the weathered cedar collection in Victorian gray.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
The weathered item makes sort of, it's not so uniform in color.
That's correct.
Some variation.
Right.
Looks, you see the grain better.
Sounds like a great idea, but without actually seeing this product, like you say, Richard, I'm kind of hesitant to vote up or down on it.
Well, what about next meeting is a long way off. I was considering that we take a drive over there and look at the house next door.
Or is it possible to look at the house next door by the and see when it was approved? Because if it were a live meeting, as all of them were until March, we probably saw the sample in person.
Right.
We saw an actual sample and approved it based on that.
Yeah, the reason at the meeting 6 months ago, it was shortly after I had gone up to Route 28 when there was a group of housing, moderate housing costs, they put in there. And I got invited to it. It was like the house opening. They were just starting to rent it out to people. And I went to it, and the ones I saw was CertainTeed. And then when we approved that house, we approved CertainTeed. So if you put something else on.
Well, I can look at the CertainTeed too and see what they had, but like I said, I'm just impressed with what he had, and
It could have been a different house, actually, because I don't remember it being Fallon's Pond. I thought it was down towards Dinah's Pond.
Well, this is John Stewart. I have a question from Mark. Could you please tell us the address of the house you're talking that's next door to you?
sure, it's 25 Drake Street.
25. Okay.
I'm looking at 25 Drake Street right now, and you can't even see it from the street.
Oh.
It's on the water. There's a row of arborvitaes that are about 10 feet tall. You can't even see that house, which is why it may have been approved.
He maybe did it without getting it approved.
No.
He has been.
No, I'm looking at his application from Let's see.
I think it's from March of
It looks like
2019,
March of
Rosemary.
2019.
Right. He did it sort of during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a year ago.
Yeah, it was for what, windows, siding, doors, a deck, etc.
Okay.
There was siding on that application as well. I'm not, so Rosemary, if you look at page 3, you'll be more familiar with the material description.
And it looks, and it does say specifically architectural certainty
Yep.
on page 3 of the app.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see it because I'm on my wife's computer.
I can, you know what, I can,
All around on 25 Drake? Is it all around the house?
Yes.
Entirely.
it's the application, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. It's Harvey Windows, I remember. That's where I went, to Harvey, to look at these.
Yeah, I think they're the only ones that carry it, Richard.
Yeah.
Well, I think Paula has a very good point. We ought to listen to the recording of that meeting and see if the fact that it wasn't visible from any public way, of course, I guess you could, I don't know, is Fallon's Pond considered a public way or?
If you're in a
Well,
boat,
it says right here is certainty, architectural certainty.
Does.
But it'd be interesting to me as to why we approved it. What was the rationale? And
Well, I think we approved it because it looked very realistic.
From what
And
vantage,
there's another factor comes in, you know, as chairman of the regional commission, I look into what's going on in other towns. And there had been a house approved with certainty shingles in Sandwich about a year before this one came up for us. The certainty ones in Sandwich were actually 5-inch weather, and they were individual shingles, not put on, you know, like a 4-foot strip.
Yeah, well, I did look at some of those, and the quality of that shingle was very thin and flimsy. It was not as good
The
quality.
individual ones.
Yeah.
The ones that I had seen on this Route 28 group of buildings was, I mean, you could knock on them and everything. They were solid.
Mhm.
You couldn't tell her. It's a hard time telling, and that wood.
Do you remember, Richard, who made those?
It's certainty.
Oh, it was by Certainty again. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the
So-
ones in Sandwich and the ones on Route 28. And so when he came in with this, we,
okay, what further information can we garner here before we can vote on this? Or do we need to
well,
have,
we might want to table it for the next meeting.
right, but I agree with that, but what exactly do we need to do prior to that next meeting?
We should,
Oh, is it- wasn't the right term of phrase.
if you have a chance to go up to Hyannis and take a look at them there. And also if we take a look at this 25 Drake Street.
Well, for what it's worth, I did kayak right by 25 on, and I did. And I don't know if you can see what this house used to look like.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It was terrible, right? It looked like that.
It was an eyesore.
And now it's absolutely gorgeous from both sides, I think. And so
Oh, yeah.
that's worth.
The difference. He's done a nice job with that house.
He's done a great job with it.
Good. All right. So
it makes my house look terrible with this shingles all blue.
Well, I mean, it's perfectly natural for cedar shingles to weather.
Oh, I know, but this is, it's the wind and stuff that comes off of that fallen spawn. That southwest wind is a killer on that southern exposure and stuff.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, do we do this as a group or do we do this individually, this research
Um,
you're advocating?
Individually, I think we have to. If we get together as a group, we're that's breaking the open meeting law.
Yeah, right. So what do you want to get, hire a bus to take us all up there?
Kayaks.
Kayak.
Water? It's not possible.
We're all gonna do our own stuff by Harvey Industries in the industrial park.
Yeah, right. You can go over to the place on 28. You know, it must be. Karen, you know.
You're talking about where the Cavalier was?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 881 Route 28.
Yeah, there's about 10 buildings, isn't it?
There's, I think, three residential buildings, one common building, so 4 total.
Oh.
But not 10.
And
But they're long.
buildings have these shingles?
Yep.
Oh,
Richard says yes, I can't.
Well, they had certainty.
certainty.
Yeah.
Not the,
Mr. Chase, do you have a sample that you could, deliver to town hall or?
Yeah, we could stop in there.
I might be able to get something for you from the contractor that was going to do it. He brought some samples for me,
Okay.
but I don't have, he took them back, but I talked to him about getting.
If you were able to get those, you could bring them here to town hall and it would take a couple days. And, I'd wish to have everybody take turns coming in or whatever. We can make appointments if you like. I'm just throwing that out there as another option for you.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
does it work for you, Mr. Chase?
Yeah, I can talk to Steve there and ask him to drop off a sample and I'll bring it to the town hall.
Okay.
And you can just reach out to Don Marie, who's been doing most of the correspondence for us, or just the OKH@Yarmouth email address, or just give a call and try extension 1277.
1277?
Yes.
Okay.
And Don Marie will notify us by email, presumably as to when they're available to be viewed, and we call her to make an appointment to view.
Yeah. Or we can just, we have a picnic. We're taking people at town hall by appointment, so we can do that. Or we can, there's a picnic table outside. If it's nice, we'll just meet you there.
I could drop off the piece to Dawn Marie and then you guys can make your arrangements to go see it, I guess. If you want to do that, that I have in your way to Hyannis.
Okay, so we
Would you, I'm sorry, Richard, would you like to put it onto the table it then to the next meeting?
right.
And I'd like to make a point. I double checked the calendar and I will contact Mr. Chase. Or this is Mr. Chase. Because I mixed up meeting dates and the next
14th, I thought.
14th of September, but the following meeting is the 28th. So I'll tell Mr. Crowley to shoot for the 28th and get us information. My apologies.
Okay.
So Karen, can we readjust the last table to the 28th? We had said the 21st.
I think it's fine. I will let him know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will let him know.
Okay, so this one now, we would go to the 14th.
This one can go to the 14th if that's what you would like.
Okay, I'll move to table this application until the 14th.
Second.
Right, all in favor? Bob Wilkins,
Aye.
Jane Hildebrand,
Aye.
Rosemary Nichols,
Aye.
John Stewart. And Paul Morrison,
Aye.
and myself, aye. So that's good. Okay. So, yeah. Well, that's the best way to do it, I think. Okay, so that's the end of our 7 items. So there's one thing, we have a section on here, continued items. We don't have any continued. We have exemptions and other business. And I have one exemption to look at. And I put it on my cell phone, so I'm going to show you. If I can get my cell phone to work. I'm not very handy with these foolish things. Good. As you enter Weir Mill Village, where I live, there's a house on the corner, and it's a very dark brown. I don't know if can you see this? This would be the new paint job.
Raise it up, Richard. There you go.
Okay.
Now you need to talk so we can see your big screen.
It's a Lennox tan and Monterey white with another blue. Let's see. Hamilton blue. These are, the historic colors. And as I say, now it's dark brown. It was stained when it was first built around 1970-ish. And nothing was done to it since then, except they painted the front door bright red. And so this would be much more mellow, right? So I got this today, and I thought I'd bounce it off at you guys. If that's what meets with your approval.
The color of the siding almost looks, when you held up your phone, to be kind of a pale tangerine. Is that not what it actually is?
Yeah, I think because it changed color going from my phone. Phone is a good reproduction of what you see on the internet, those colors.
The color, we can search it online. What's the color?
Yeah.
Yeah, the colors. Lennox, like in Lennox, Massachusetts. Tan, T-A-N.
Who makes it?
Our usual, what do you call it?
Benjamin Moore.
Yeah.
Benjamin Moore. Benjamin.
Historic color?
HC 44.
Okay, got it.
And then the Monterey white is HC 27. And the Hamilton blue door is HC 191.
Yeah. Okay.
That looks good.
They've taken a whole mess of trees down in front of it to open up the view of the water. So we hope that it won't erode away. You're gonna have to quickly put some grass and shrubbery in there. It's a steep lot.
Richard, what's the address, please, for the record?
It's number 8 Merchant Avenue.
Thank you.
So it's first house on the left as you come into my section.
Is it already done? Already painted?
No.
Okay. The picture you were showing us was of some other house, right?
Oh, you can do that on the,
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah.
Clever.
It's virtual painting.
I see. Okay.
Actually,
Cool.
the fellow, they just bought the house recently, and he's the vice president of a company that has several smaller companies like Craftsman Tools.
Smaller companies?
Hmm? He's a vice president.
Oh,
So he's a sharp guy, and I'm sure he knows how to use a computer a lot better than I do. So he put that picture together.
Pretty good.
You know, the house looks just like that. 2-story colonials, straightforward. Okay, so that's about it for tonight. There's a couple of things that we did talk about today at a meeting when I was with Karen and Dawn Marie. And that has to do with things like violations, like the plastic fences that are put in, and somebody sees it and says, red flag, you can't do that. And what we want to do is get it onto the agenda. And what would happen is if a violation is noticed, we'd write up a violation sheet. They're on the website for Old Kings Highway. Write that up so it's in writing. We'll bring it up at the next meeting and vote whether we think that it's something worth pursuing or just let it go if it's not all that bad. And if we vote to pursue it, then we would send a letter to the homeowner and copy Mark Grills and start action that way, which is pretty much what we had been doing with Beth around. But it would give us a step procedure to do here.
so, well, excuse me, each one of us, if we find a violation, we'll bring it in with the violation filled out, and we're gonna consider it as the board on the.
Yeah, then we bring it up.
Will that be a
Once
formal vote or just a discussion?
Well, it could be presented and then discuss it and take a vote whether we should do
It
it.
has to be in the advertisement and on the agenda.
Oh, it would be on the agenda.
Okay.
What
John,
happened, usually I get a copy of the, what do they call it? Tentative agenda.
Right.
Well,
And I get that a couple of days before we send it out. So I would include those items. And then when you get the agenda, it'll be on there. It'll be on, so the public will see it.
Right. Thank you.
Karen, what is the name of the form specifically, and where?
I don't, and I'd have to check. I don't know that it's online, Richard. I need to look at that.
Oh, okay.
And you may know more than me on that. But we can certainly email it to you. You guys seem to be very aware of, you know, what's going on in the district, and when there's a violation, it's, I think, by and large, brought to our attention through the committee.
Yeah, we
email
live
that out to
scattered
you,
all
too.
over the place.
I did
Um,
something, I sent in a form some time ago, and there is something on the town's website. I don't believe it's.
Building department.
There's some form that you can fill out. I don't remember any longer how I found it or what it's called, but there is some form that I sent it in.
Well, I know the form Beth put together was largely based on the building department form. So we'll track that down, either the link and or, you know, the PDF itself, and we can send that out to the group.
Great.
What do we do when we receive a notice from a member of the town, like they send a letter in? Are we requiring them to fill out a form as well? Or will we
Yes.
act on a letter?
the form, and we talked about that a little bit today, the form, because I had exactly the same question. But the form is very useful because it leads you to provide the information that the committee would want to hear, including, the address, what the violation is, and it also does require a name to be provided, and that policy is the same, for the building department.
So if a resident is cited for a violation, then they would have access to find out. Would that become public record? They'd know.
It would, I believe that the building department, what their standard process is to black it out, but it lets the town hall staff kind of have a point of contact and understand that it does, I can't think of the right word, but it's not made kind of frivolously, right? That's got some weight to it.
Yeah. But it would put it in the public eye in the sense that it'll be on the agenda and say that a violation at such and such house, the address of the house.
At what point would the homeowner be made aware of the violation? Because if we're going to put it on the agenda with an address, shouldn't we give the homeowner a specific heads up?
I think that's the appropriate way to go, Rosemary. I do think too, it adds time. So sequencing it out, we send you guys, we get the legal ad together first for an Old Kings Highway meeting. And then later on, when we've got the Zoom set up and all the other information, then we put the meeting notice together. And that's what meets the open meeting law. And that's only, the requirement there is only 48 hours. So I'd suggest that, that's not enough notice to let somebody know that, there's something on the agenda about them, because it doesn't give them time to kind of clear their calendar accordingly. So we just have to factor time in for that.
2 meetings ahead, for instance?
I think that might be fine. I mean, this is all new. I don't think that we had any similar process in place. John, you brought up talking to Jim Wilson. I didn't have a chance. I took some time off last week. So I didn't have a chance to talk with him. I don't know how other towns do it. I'd be very interested in kind of learning,
right,
a best practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a work in progress.
Sure.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so I don't know what else we have for tonight.
Well, I have good news. I think we've made some progress in our filling of the Old Kings Highway administrator position. I don't want to, we're not inked. The deal hasn't been inked, but we're pretty close, and I hope to have someone on board perhaps as early as the next meeting on September 14th, which would be great.
Great.
Good. Good. Okay. That is good news.
All right, I'll move to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Where's Paula?
yes, Paula.
Shout out your names. Barbara,
Paula,
John, Stuart,
Rosemary, yes.
Jane, yes.
and Richard Gamemoth. Yes, okay. I'm getting tired.
Robert and Jane?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
over and out, everyone.
Okay, thank you
Over
all.
and out.
Night.
good night.
Good night.
Night, thank you.
Good night.